Turnpike Sports Pro Football Pick segment is brought to you by Betfred Sportsbook. Never miss a bet with Betfred Sportsbook. Betfred Sports brings over 50 years of experience through the United States betting industry. Straight bets, in-play wagering, parlay cards, teasers, and more. Head on over to BetfredSports.com or download the Betfred Sportsbook app in Colorado, Iowa, or Arizona and get in on all the action today. New signups will receive up to $250 in free bets when wagering $50. Download the Betfred Sportsbook app today. Offer valid in Colorado, Iowa, and Arizona only. Visit BetfredSports.com for terms and conditions. Please gamble responsibly. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, and 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado.
And welcome to NFL Week 2. I'm Doug Weishettle here with Dave Weishettle. This is the Turnpike Sports Pro Football Pick segment sponsored by Betfred Sports. Before we get into our picks this week, I have to say I had a very underwhelming start last week. That's putting it mildly.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, I'm setting myself up for a massive comeback.
Okay, there you go.
So
there
I have to look at it that way. It was just, again, I think what I took away the most from week 1 here is you got to have these players play in preseason because there was a lot of rust in a lot of the first half games.
There's a lot of teams trying to figure things out right now. I think a lot of teams are using these first couple of weeks as their preseason. I know a lot of quarterbacks didn't look sharp, and but it's great to have football back. I had a pretty good week. I went 2-1, but yes. I came 1 point away from having a perfect week. Well, and this is why I don't bet on my favorite team. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I would have won that game if they won by. I took the Eagles -4. And they won by a field goal. So I'm happy they won, but I'm mad they didn't cover. So that's why I don't bet usually on the Eagles.
How do you think I felt? I bet on my Jets.
Okay.
And the first half, they looked good. And then the rust came off off the Ravens. And wow, boy, yeah. The Jets fell apart in the second half. But a couple of little trends for the first week of the season. The favorites went 8-8.
Okay.
And the overs went 5-11 this first week of the NFL season. So
I won in an under. I won in an under.
Well, the 11s were the unders were 11-5.
Let me tell you something. I was sweating out 2 of my 3 games. First, the Eagles. They like I said, they won by a field goal, and I took a -4. And I went with the under in the Giants game, and I had to wait till the final play for the Tennessee Titans to miss that field goal to get the under 43, so I got that game. So I was sweating it out all day.
Well, again, this is only week 1.
Only week 1.
And I think a lot of the teams, resting players in the preseason kind of made – I think some of the quality of the football was kind of lacking a little bit, especially in the first half of a lot of the games.
Yeah.
But let's, as always, what we do here on Turnpike Sports Pro Football Picks, we each pick 3 games, no money lines. We do spreads and totals only, and we do head-to-head, and we just keep going through the season. Like Dave said, he went 2-1 last week.
And by the way, we actually bet on these games, so we're in this with you. If we're if we're giving our picks, it means we're putting some money down on these games.
Well, last week I might as well just put my money in an envelope and just send it over to the sportsbook. I went 0-3.
Dig a hole and put your money in.
That's all I did. The hole wasn't even good enough for me. I went 0-3. Underwhelming start. Going to try and do better this week. So let's head on over to NFL Week 2 with our first picks.
Yes.
My first game, and I have to admit, I don't know why I'm doing this. I did the Ravens-Jets game in Week 1. I am now doing the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going 2 weeks in a row here with the Ravens.
Okay, I have this game too, so you do this game right after you do the game.
The Ravens are favored by 3.5. There's an over-under of 44.5 in this game. Like I just said previously, the Ravens had a lot of rust showing in the first half against the Jets. They went into halftime, and then when they came back out, it was almost like the Jets stayed in the locker room, and The Ravens just started clicking on all cylinders. They had, 20 players not playing the preseason, and it showed. But the second half showed that the Ravens are still one of the best teams in the NFL. The Dolphins kind of manhandled the Patriots in week 1, and I don't know if that's a factor of the Dolphins being better or more of a factor of the Patriots being a mess right now.
By the way, Tua missed some easy throws too.
I know that was worrisome.
It could have been a lot worse for the Patriots.
Well, he was.
I'm not a Tua guy anyway.
No, I don't know if he's that accurate. To be honest with you, I've never seen accuracy in his throws. I mean, more than 10 yards down the field anyway. But like I said, Miami beat up a New England team. They're still trying to piece their stuff together. So I think maybe what we're seeing here is we're going to see the real Miami Dolphins team against the Ravens here and see exactly where they are. Like I said, the Ravens are favored by 3.5. I'm actually going with the Ravens, favored by 3.5 here. So I really think the Ravens are a much better team than the Dolphins at this point right now.
Okay, well, I think we're on the same wavelength here because I took the Baltimore Ravens and I'm laying the points. I think the tipping point for me is the quarterback. I like what Lamar Jackson's doing. Like I said, I'm not a Tua fan, but let me throw out some numbers for you. So a lot of bettors like numbers, so I figure I'll give them some trends. The Ravens are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 Week 2 games.
That's a good stat.
That's a great stat. I love stats like that. In their Week 2 games, their last 10, they're 7-3 against the spread. So I like where this is going. And they're 9-3 against the spread when they play a team with a winning record. So let's put this all together. It's Week 2. The Dolphins have a winning record, even though it's 1-0. So I'm going with the Ravens. So I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens like you and laying the points.
My second game for the week, and I can't believe I'm doing this one as well. I bet on the Colts in week 1. I did an over with the Colts-Texans game. I'm doing this game again. The Indianapolis Colts are traveling to Jacksonville Jaguars. Colts are favored by 4 points. There's an over under a 47. Again, please, we should always mention, check the points and the lines before game time.
Yeah, these lines and spreads are constantly moving.
They will change, and you got to be aware of that.
Yep, absolutely. Always check out Betfred before you place your bets because I think they have the best numbers. By the way,
they also have the really best designed site. I love the way it looks.
I love the way Betfred is set out.
Well, let's get to the game. Colts traveling to the Jaguars again. The Colts were involved in the first Week 1 tie since 2019. I had done the over in that. They hadn't scored a lick in the first half. And again, I think it was a matter of rust in the first half. The second half, they put up, I think it was 13, 14 points. Really good, strong offensive showing there in the second half. I think that's going to continue over. A couple interesting streaks here. The under in Colts games. The under is 6-0 in the last 6 games overall for Colts. Mm-hmm. The Jags have another interesting streak. The Jaguars have a 6-game winning streak against the Colts in Jacksonville. This is the first time Matt Ryan's playing against the Jaguars as a Colt. Like I said, the offense seemed to be clicking. I don't know. I just have a feeling that both of those streaks I mentioned are going to come to an end this week. I'm not going with the over this time because the Colts killed me with that over last week. It was around the same points. I'm going with the Colts favored by 4.
All right, my next game is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are favored by 3 points against the New Orleans Saints with a total of 44. I mean, if Week 1 taught me anything like we've been talking about is that teams are still trying to figure things out. And these are two of the teams that I think are still trying to figure things out. New Orleans struggled against a bad Atlanta team, and they pulled out the win, which was great for them. And Tampa Bay has issues with their offensive line, which, you know, if I know Tom Brady's great and he gets the ball out fast, but you always have to be concerned about the offensive line. But I think Tampa Bay is a more talented team, and I think they're going to pull this one out. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. Over the last 3 seasons, these teams have played 5 times, and 3 of those games have gone under. And I think that's what's going to happen because it's early in the season. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think Leonard Fournette will be running up and down the field, taking a lot of time off the clock. So I'm taking the under 44 points in this game.
My last game of the week is the Minnesota Vikings traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 2.5. There's an over-under of 51.5. And, I just noticed something. All my games are East Coast games.
Okay.
So that's kind of an interesting spread. I didn't even notice it until I'm looking at my notes doing this segment. But, again, Eagles favored by 2.5 over the Vikings, over-under 51.5. This line's been changing, as soon as Sunday was over. And it's already changed a couple times. So please, again, check your lines before you place a bet. Go to the Eagles. The Eagles put up 38 points against the Lions. And that offense, when it's on the field, can score points. The problem is when the Eagles' defense is on the field, the other team can score points because the Lions put up 35.
35, yeah. I'm not crazy about that part.
And it was a fun game to watch. It wasn't a fun game to watch if you had the Eagles by 4 and they won by 3. So again, Detroit always covers. I mean, I remember
they're a good team. I think they're a good team this year. I think watch out for Detroit. Don't sleep on Detroit. They're not going to the deep in the playoffs. I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs, but they're a good team. They're a good team.
Well, Detroit last year, I remember I had a streak with Detroit of betting on them to cover the spread, and they had like 7 in a row covers. So it was kind of. They beat the spread 7 times in a row. But again, I think the Eagles did the right move getting A.J. Brown in terms of offensive output. It was very fun to watch that offense. Jalen Hurts, I want to say I like him, but he does certain things that drive me nuts. And again, the defense seems to have some issues again at the beginning of the season here. Minnesota put up 23 against Green Bay. Green Bay's defense actually looked like Philly's defense. So I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing more and more offense from both of these teams in this game. I think the total last week for the Eagles was 73 because it was 38-35. You might see something like that again. I don't know if it's going to go to 70 points, but I'm doing the over 51.5 here for the Eagles game.
Everything you say was, he's going to take the over. He's going to take the over. And yes, you did take the over.
Of course.
I almost went there too, but I bet on the Eagles last week, and I was happy they won. I was mad that they didn't cover, so I stayed away from the Eagles. But my third game is the Carolina Panthers. They're traveling to they're traveling to New Jersey to face the New York Giants, who are favored by 2.5 points with a total of 43. I as an Eagles fan, I hate saying this, but I love what Brian Daboll, first-year Giants head coach, is doing. I mean, the confidence and with that gutsy call, going for the 2 points and the win. I mean, did you see the Giant players' faces on the sidelines? They believed in each other finally. They actually played like a cohesive football team. Granted, they won because the Tennessee Titans missed a field goal, but I just like the confidence in that team right now. Daniel Jones even threw for 81% of his passes. He completed 81% of his passes. I know he threw an interception in the end zone, but I think they'll work that one out. But Carolina was terrible last week. I mean, the Cleveland Browns ran all over them. Can you imagine what Saquon Barkley will do to them this week? So
the rejuvenated Saquon.
Yeah, boy, he looked great. 160 something yards. I can't
162.
162. Yeah, I mean, he looked great. I mean, a healthy Saquon Barkley is extremely dangerous, and I think he's going to run all over the Carolina defense. And let me give you some numbers, which is disturbing if you're a Carolina fan. They're 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 road games and 3-13 against the spread in their last 16 games. So I can't believe I'm saying this as an Eagles fan, but I'm taking the New York Giants and laying the points. Will the New York Giants go 2-0 after this week?
I have to admit,
I think so.
I think last week when we first started this segment, we were talking about how the Giants fans may have a long season. Honestly, I am very impressed with the Giants.
If you listen to the New York media this week, they are doing backflips over the Giants. So, like I said, Coach Brian Daboll gave them a whole new confidence, and they're really I just see them on the sideline after the 2-point conversion last week. I mean, they really believed in themselves, but and then Tennessee went up the field and missed the field goal, but hey, let's leave that aside. But Daniel Jones actually looked like a professional quarterback. Completing 81% of his passes.
Let me tell you
Excuse
something.
me? Oh my God!
That sounded like an Eagles fan.
Well,
he finally looked like a professional quarterback.
Hey, what am I going to say? I have eyes, I can see. But hey, New York Giants fans, I'm riding with the Giants this week, and I'm laying the points.
I'm just glad to see a rejuvenated Saquon Barkley. We haven't seen that since 2019. So It's been a long time coming. It's nice to see. So let's do our recap. My games: Baltimore laying the points 3.5, Colts laying the points 4, and the over 51.5 in the Eagles-Vikings game.
Okay, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens like Doug is, and I'm laying the points. I'm taking the under 44 points in the Tampa Bay-New Orleans game, and I'm going with the New York Giants and laying the points against the Carolina Panthers.
All right, well, everyone, enjoy week 2. These picks will be up on the blog, turnpikesports.us. Click on the blog button, and you'll see these picks in written form, info@turnpikesportsradio.com, if you want to throw in your own picks as well. Again, go to BetfredSports.com. We love working with these guys. They have some of the best lines out there, and enjoy your Sundays.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.